Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here today to share with you some of the latest and greatest product developments within Talent Solutions and across all of LinkedIn. I'm also planning to announce 2 brand new products that you'll be the first people outside of LinkedIn to hear about. That's right, we're doing the official global announcement right here at Talent Connect Australia. But before we dive in, I wanted to start with something fun. Like many of you, I do lots of searches in LinkedIn Recruiter. But I rarely think about the fact that I'm searching across 225 million real people. So today, to make it more real, I'd like to try a live people search right in this room. Let's start by having everybody stand up. Can I get everybody to stand up out of your chairs? Rumble, rumble. OK, good. So I'll start with a keyword, and then I'll add a few filters. And every time I add a new search criteria, if it applies to you, I'd like you to stay standing. And if not, you can go ahead and have a seat. I'll start with the keyword recruiter. If your title has the word recruiter in it, I'd like you to stay standing. OK, good. Now, I'm not just looking for any recruiter. I'd like to find someone who can help me hire software engineers. So now I'll select a filter for industry equals technology. If you're a recruiter in the technology industry, I'd like you to stay standing. OK. And then I'm also looking for someone who can be productive right away without a lot of training. So for my last filter, I'll select years of experience equals 5 or more. If you've got 5 or more years of experience, I'd like you to stay standing. OK. Looks like we're down to just a handful of folks. You are exactly who I'm looking for. So if you shoot me a message on LinkedIn later today, I'll get back to you with something special. You can go ahead and have a seat. Thank you. Now, the interesting thing is that that search looked across 500 people in this room and took a few minutes. But searches in LinkedIn Recruiter search across all 225 million LinkedIn members in just a few seconds. That's like searching across 400,000 rooms this size. I mean, I work on this stuff. And even for me, it's easy to lose sight of just how powerful the technology can be. So what makes this kind of technology possible? Well, it starts with a team of product managers, designers, and software engineers back at LinkedIn's headquarters in California who build the products you use every day. And we are all guided by a common mission, which is to build insanely brilliant and simple products that change people's lives. But there's one word that stands out as most important, and that's people. Because when you operate one of the largest websites in the world, it's easy to lose sight of exactly who's using your product. But all 225 million members are people, just like you and me. Now, this is especially relevant in my world, Talent Solutions, because we build products for enterprises. But the users of enterprise products aren't enterprises. They're people, like you. And you use apps like Gmail and Facebook and devices like the iPhone, and you're starting to expect the products you use at work to be just as good as, if not better than, the ones you use in your personal life. For example, how many of you use an iPhone at work? Let me see some hands. Yeah, that looks like pretty much most of you. Me too. The iPhone wasn't built for corporate IT departments. It was built for people like you and me. And because it's a great phone, we started bringing it to work and connecting it to corporate networks, using it to access our business email, and IT departments were forced to adapt. Now, this is an example of a fundamental shift in behavior that's often called the consumerization of the enterprise, bringing consumer quality user experience to enterprise tools. And it's something that at LinkedIn we are particularly excited about, because we're a consumer company at heart. We operate one of the largest websites in the world, with over 180 million unique visitors each month. And for those of you who have spent time on LinkedIn.com over the past few months or past year, you've probably noticed all the changes we've made. Hari covered some of them this morning. We've redesigned the homepage, profile, search results, our mobile app, and dozens of other pages. And the results have been extremely positive. We get great feedback from our members, and the key metrics we care most about are way, way up. And the things we do on the consumer side of our business, the products we build, the data we collect, and the lessons we learn, make our enterprise tools better. This is a unique and powerful advantage. So today, I'd like to spend some time sharing some of the key lessons we've learned building consumer products and explain how those lessons feed into our Talent Solutions products to make them better. Lesson number 1, simplify. Now, simplification has been a priority at LinkedIn for the past few years, and we've learned firsthand how simplification drives user engagement. There are a lot of examples to choose from, but perhaps the best one is our mobile app, which we first launched about 3 years ago. Here's what that first one looked like. In the first generation of the app, the mobile team tried to take every feature on LinkedIn.com and cram it into the app. And they ended up with this, an app that has 12 icons on the home screen. And none of the features were optimized for the mobile device. So this app just didn't get a lot of traction. And the mobile team knew that they had to do better. So in the second generation of the app, they started from scratch and added back only the features that users wanted on a mobile device. And they made sure that each of those features was optimized for mobile. They ended up with an app that has 4 icons on the home screen, dramatically simpler. And this is when we started to see mobile engagement take off. But they didn't stop there. And in the third generation of the app, the one that most of you are probably familiar with, they moved from a home screen with icons to a feed so that users can dive right into the app without ever clicking. And it was at this point that we started to see mobile engagement really accelerate. Fast forward to today, and as you heard this morning, over 30% of visits to LinkedIn.com come from mobile devices. Now, before I move on, I wanted to plug our newest mobile app, which we launched a couple of weeks ago. And if you haven't had the chance to download it yet, I highly recommend it. It takes a great app and makes it even better. I think you'll really enjoy it. Now, this simplification got us thinking about how we could do the same kind of thing in LinkedIn Recruiter. So we decided to start with the homepage. Here's what the Recruiter homepage looked like up until about a month ago. Many of you are probably familiar with it. It includes a lot of information, but it's kind of texty and cluttered, with modules stacked one on top of the other. So we knew it was time for a redesign. And we decided to take a page out of the mobile team's playbook and start from scratch. We added back only the information that Recruiter users need to be productive. And here's what we came up with. A page that's simpler and cleaner and centered around a new module called Updates, which is a feed of things that have happened in the product that you need to know about. Most updates are responses to things you've done. So for example, if you post a job, we'll send an update when you have new applicants. We'll also post an update when someone replies to an email you've sent, when there are new results for a search you've saved, or when a candidate you're following updates their profile. Updates, the update stream is now a concise way to understand exactly what needs your attention and pick up where you left off. Now, we launched this page about a month ago, and the results have been extremely positive. We get a tremendous amount of positive feedback. But rather than walk through dozens of testimonials, I thought I'd just share my favorite. It's magic. Simplicity in a nutshell. All right, on to lesson number 2. Recommend. Recommendations have been a major driver of growth and engagement for LinkedIn over the past few years. And there are a number of examples to choose from, but my favorite is something called jobs you may be interested in. Now, LinkedIn's had jobs on the site for many years, but for most of that time, the only way to find jobs was to search for them, which meant that the only people seeing jobs were active candidates. And we knew that we needed a way to get jobs in front of the right passive candidates. So we started working on a technology that has become jobs you may be interested in. Jobs you may be interested in connects the jobs you post with the right passive candidates based on their experience, education, and skills and interests. And over the past few years, it's become the engine that delivers passive candidates at scale. We put it on the home page, in the feed, in our mobile app, in email alerts, in all of the site flows that reach the 180 million visitors who come to LinkedIn each month. And as a result, today, jobs you may be interested in drives over 50% of job seeker engagement. This feature has revolutionized the way jobs work on LinkedIn. Now, we've been bringing recommendations into Recruiter in a number of ways. But one of my favorite examples is a new feature that launched on the new homepage in the right rail called People You May Want to Hire. People You May Want to Hire recommends candidates who are a fit for the roles you're trying to fill based on your activity in Recruiter. The searches you conduct, the emails you send, the candidates you view. And this technology, or this is built on the same technical foundations as the other recommendation products like Jobs You May Be Interested In and People You May Know on LinkedIn.com, but it's the first time we've ever used that technology to recommend people. So this is a way to dive right into profiles and discover new passive candidates without ever doing a search. And we think it has the potential to change the way you source. Another example is a relatively new feature we launched a few months ago called Inside Opinion, which lives in the right rail of profile pages in Recruiter. Inside Opinion recommends people at your company who are likely to know the candidate whose profile you're looking at. So this is a way to understand exactly who can provide a reference on candidates. And it makes that reference checking process extremely simple and easy. It's a way to leverage the power of your company network to hire smarter. And it's something that's never been possible before. All right, on to lesson number 3, automate. This morning you heard a bit about LinkedIn influencers, where noteworthy business people can post long-form content on LinkedIn and get distribution to our audience of professionals. We launched influencers last fall, and immediately after launch, we knew we had a hit on our hands because some of these posts would generate a tremendous amount of user engagement. But the problem was that some would generate a lot and others not very little. And so the influencers team was trying to understand the reason for that. And they realized that LinkedIn users were having a hard time discovering this content. There wasn't an easy way to find it on the site. So after trying a number of things, they decided to add a follow button so that members could follow influencers they're interested in and receive updates whenever one of those influencers posted something new. After adding this button, suddenly the engagement that used to be sporadic leveled off at the higher rate and resulted in an 8x increase in traffic for the LinkedIn Today news product. So this one small change made a very, very big difference. So again, it got us thinking about how we could do something similar in Recruiter. And there were a couple of things that we'd known for a long time, but never been able to act on. And that was that many Recruiter users have a short list of passive candidates that they're particularly interested in. And also that passive candidates are most likely to be interested in new opportunities when something changes in their professional lives. And those changes are often correlated with profile updates. So we were finally able to bring those together with a new feature called Update Me, which allows Recruiter users to follow candidates they're interested in and receive updates in their Recruiter homepage when one of those candidates makes a change to their profile. So this is a way to be the first to know when a candidate you're interested in is particularly receptive to a message from you. Not only have we had a tremendous amount of success with this at LinkedIn with our own recruiting team, but since we launched it, this feature has had the fastest adoption of any feature we've ever put in Recruiter. All right, so the consumer product flywheel is spinning faster than ever, and Recruiter continues to evolve. But you want to know what we're working on right now and what's coming next. Well, like I said, right here at Talent Connect Australia today, we're going to announce 2 new products, and this is the official global announcement for both of these. And we've got blog posts coordinated that are going live at midnight California time, right after this session, and a bunch of media coverage planned for the coming days. So this is something really special, and I'm tremendously excited to share these new features with you. The first is something called social campaigns. And it's important in this case to start with some background on the company follower ecosystem. On LinkedIn, members can follow companies they're interested in and get updates from those companies in their homepage feed. Over the past few years, tens of millions of LinkedIn members have started following companies, and today, many companies have hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers. Each one of these followers has raised his or her hand and asked to hear directly from the company they're following. Some are interested in news or product announcements, but most just want to work there. In fact, when we surveyed followers, 70% said that they follow companies, say that they're interested in career opportunities at the companies they follow. And that's what makes followers so important for talent solutions clients. They're like a talent network, but better, because these are passive candidates who want to hear from you. But until now, it hasn't been easy to reach your followers. And that's where social campaigns comes in. With this feature, you can post updates from your recruiter account directly to the homepage feeds of your followers, either all of them at once or a targeted subset. It's a whole new take on campaigns. Let's take a closer look at how it works. This is the new social campaigns page that we'll be launching in Recruiter in the next few months. At the top of the page, you can post an update, just like on LinkedIn.com. Except in this case, the update goes to your followers rather than your network. To post an update, you start by entering it into the status field. In this case, for example, Acme wants to announce that they're opening a new office in Sydney and are actively hiring. Next, you select the targeting criteria. Again, you can send an update to all of your followers, but in this case, Acme might want to send it only to followers in the Sydney area, or say only followers in the functions for which they're hiring. After that, it's as simple as clicking share, and your update is automatically posted to the homepage feeds of your followers. Now, once you post an update, you want to understand its performance. So if you scroll down the page, you'll be able to see a list of the updates you've posted. And for each update, the number of followers you've reached and their engagement rate, the number of likes, comments, and shares. Now, that's interesting, but if you scroll a bit further down, we'll actually show you the specific followers who engaged, who liked it, who commented it, and who shared it. This enables you to follow up with specific candidates who are particularly responsive to your message, either individually or as a group. Now, ultimately, this is a whole new way to reach passive candidates in a format that's comfortable for them. It takes campaigns out of email, which starts to feel like spam, and brings them into the modern social era. Best of all, social campaigns can go viral, because when one of your followers likes or shares an update, it cascades outward to their network and dramatically extends your reach. Now, we're not the first to do campaigns, but we are the first to do them in a way that's social and viral and reaches passive candidates. This is something only LinkedIn can do, and we think it has the potential to dramatically change the way you engage passive candidates. All right, now if you thought that was exciting, wait until you see the next one. Again, it's important to start with some background. In this case, some background on students. For LinkedIn to be successful in the long run, it's important for us to have not just today's generation of professionals on our platform, but the next generation as well. And that's why over the past few years, we've put a lot of effort into making LinkedIn relevant for students and recent grads. And those efforts are paying off, because today we have over 30 million students and recent grads on our platform, and they are the fastest growing and most engaged segment. Now, that's great news for talent solutions clients, many of whom hire hundreds or thousands of interns and entry-level graduates each year. But a lot of that recruiting takes place on campus, and our current tools just aren't optimized for that use case, which got us thinking about how we could dramatically change the campus recruiting process. Why? Because of this paper. Wow. If Talent Connect were a recruiting event, and each one of you stopped by my booth to drop off your CV, this is what I'd end up with. A huge stack of paper. I've literally got them right here. Is Mark Suter in the room? Okay. How about John McDonnell? Toby List? These are literally the profiles of everyone that's here. I mean, I can use it to work out, actually. This is heavy. Now, I was a math major as an undergrad, so I thought it'd be fun to do some quick calculations. If all 500 of us went to a recruiting event today, and we each collected profiles from 50 candidates, how many would we end up with in total? It's not a trick question. I'm sure somebody said it. 25,000 CVs. That would be a stack higher than I am tall. And now, after the event, we'd all go back to the office, back to our desks, and enter this information into whatever system we use. We would scan, upload, type it in manually. And let's imagine that that process takes 10 minutes per candidate. How much time would we spend in total on doing this? 250,000 minutes. It's over 4,000 hours of manual work. And that's just for one event. We knew there had to be a better way. So we started with Talent Pipeline, which is a suite of prospect management and workflow tools tightly integrated into Recruiter. Talent Pipeline enables you to capture leads from any source, manage candidates throughout the hiring process, and optimize your workflow based on data about what's working. So it's a perfect foundation for campus recruiting. But you need more than a foundation. You need a way to bring pipeline to campus. So we put it on the iPad. Today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the newest member of the Talent Solutions product family, Check-in. Check-in is a way for candidates to put themselves directly into your pipeline. But it's much more than that. It's also an end-to-end system for managing event-based recruiting. And again, it's completely integrated into Recruiter. Let's take a closer look at how it works. Check-in consists of two key components: a management console in Recruiter and a registration flow for candidates. For each event you host, you start by creating a new registration flow. Now, the creation process is quick and easy, but we won't cover it here today for the sake of time. Each registration flow has a unique URL that you can load on the device or devices that you plan to use at the event. It's optimized for iPads, but it also works on PCs, smartphones, other tablets, any device with a web browser. Now, this is what the candidate sees when they visit your booth at an event. The registration flow starts with a welcome screen that includes your corporate colors, your logo, and a welcome message that you can customize. Next, candidates enter their name, email address, and phone number, which is optional. Notice we haven't asked them to register or log in. And that's because, thanks to Pipeline, we can create a prospect record in Recruiter with just a name and email address and map it to a profile later. Next, we use the email address to look up their profile if they have one. But they can continue without a profile and create one later, which makes the process very quick and easy. And as a last step, the candidate identifies their areas of interest based on options you can customize. After that, the registration flow resets so that the next candidate can check in. The whole process takes less than 30 seconds. And some of you are probably familiar with it from the demo area and from, I think, a link that we sent out ahead of this event. But if you haven't seen it on an iPad, you really should check it out. It's pretty slick. So it's after the event, though, where the real magic happens. No more paper, no more manual work. Every candidate who checks in at your event is automatically stored in a project in your Recruiter account so that you can search across their profiles add tags, statuses, notes, send messages individually or to the whole group, and always be sure that you have the latest profile and contact information. So now you and your teams can get back to what makes recruiting special: building relationships with candidates, filling recs, and being a strategic asset to the companies you work for. All right, it's time to wrap up, and I know we've covered a lot, but that's because we're innovating faster than ever. So if there's one thing you take away from this presentation, I'd like it to be this: we're not just changing the way recruiting works, we're changing the way you work. So welcome to a world in which the enterprise has been consumerized. Welcome to the future of recruiting. Thank you.